We are now getting ready. Sanjay ji, you missed a lot of compliments. Would you come and join us briefly? Again. To many of you who have not met him, our famous Sanjay ji.
I should get used to the spotlight. So,
would you like to share what we are cooking? And
yeah. So Hemant Rutu is coming up, everybody's favorite. Pallavs who have been here less than a year, now is the time. I know Ripa was waiting for a long, long time. So what we are cooking tonight or today is urad dal, but since the theme is also increasing fertility, so I've cooked it with using saffron and ghee and onions. I'll be giving you a demo and you can make it at home. Ideally it goes best with chapati or roti, but you can eat it by itself or with rice. So in Ayurveda, the concept is of foods that are vrishya. They are considered to be increasing shukra dhatu and therefore fertility. Typically, foods that are considered rasayan would do that automatically. Milk is one, ghee is another, saffron is there. So those of you who know how to make the spice milk, that would be very helpful. You can add some more ghee if your Agni permits.
And recipes on our website.
And yeah, the recipe and the video is on the website. So without any further delay, I'll get started with the demo.
Let us.
The dal for the coming season, you can say that. And before I start the demo, and before you guys leave, please stop by our kitchen and look at the beautiful altar that Manaswini has set up. It's Durga Devi is our Kula goddess, so we established her in the kitchen, and it's a small temple of her because the kitchen is a temple. So for making urad dal, it's a two-step process. We'll do two things at the same time. This is my friendly pressure cooker. Most of you who've been here know it, have used it. Those of you who haven't used it, I recommend using it only for the reason that it makes cooking easier and therefore more practical, because most times people just run away from cooking. It's going to take time. I keep telling all my students it takes you less time to cook at home than it takes you to go to the restaurant and order food. And when you're cooking at home, you know what you're eating. Okay, so this urad dal has been soaked for about 4 hours or more. Ideally, if you can soak it overnight, that's best. But if you can do it for 2-3 hours, that's good enough. This was about 1 cup of urad dal. And it has been rinsed already, so I like to use the same water in which it was soaking. But you're welcome to clean it and use different water. Urad dal is a little guru. Yeah. Sheet, guru and madhu. So cooling, sweet and heavy.
That's the reason why we have it in winter.
because of its heavy quality. Rock salt is enda namak. Some turmeric. If you're using this pressure cooker and you already know it, the rule of thumb is once it gives a whistle 3 times, you're done. Practically anything. And that's it. Now we get to the next step, which is doing onions in ghee. This urad dal requires good quantity of ghee, and the ritu is such that you'll be able to digest it, provided you have agni to do so. Tastes good. If I add one more spoon, huh? Might as well. Now is the season to do it. What you build up in these 2 months is going to be with you for a long time. So, some jeera, cumin seed. And this is about 1 medium-sized onion chopped. Red, white, yellow doesn't matter. They're all the same, except that the white one is the sweetest of them all. Here it's a red and white here. You can also sprinkle some methi seed powder on top of it. This is freshly ground methi seed, so if you haven't, please pass it around. Methi, fenugreek.
Can I ask you a quick question about spices and how fresh they need to be, if we can grind and put it in the refrigerator or freezer? Does it have to be all
Fresher the better.
No, like the methi that you just ground.
We
Fresh
don't
is the
put them
best.
in the refrigerator,
Okay.
because if you put them in refrigerator, the tamas gur, and it will become difficult to digest and it will get disturbed. Because spices are, their basic attribute is deepana and pachana. They are supposed to deepen, they are supposed to ignite. But
Ignite the fire.
if we put it in freezer or fridge, it will disturb it, so keep outside and change them often. In fact, in traditional way, we expose them to the sun from time to time. If you remember, in India, we would expose them to sun, then rebottle them. Then when the sun is nice, we expose them, so they stay crisp and they take the agni from the sun and they become even better, they do their work better. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, plus anytime you eat something out, of the freezer or the fridge, it, as Shuni said, it imbibes the tamas quality, and also a lot of sheath gun also increases, which is bound to affect your agni or the digestive fire. So the basis of Ayurvedic cooking, if I would say, is that, 2 aspects you have to keep in mind. If it were to just crystallize it to 2, keeping the agni intact or in good condition, and keeping your vayu in control. So those 2 things, if you can do, it takes small steps at a time, but Coming back to the spices, the fresher they are, the better it is. This was ground literally 15 minutes ago. You do an experiment, you grind it 15 minutes ago and grind it 15 days ago. Smell it, you will notice the difference. And that's exactly what it does inside your body.
And the spices themselves, they don't go bad. If you combine it with something else, you make a recipe, then it's a different thing. But otherwise, just the spices, they won't go bad. You can keep them out, they are good enough. So we keep like this for days together, and that's absolutely fine. So now the methi, which is right now, Manaswini gave it here. So if you're not used to cooking like this, and the one thing which I was mentioning about the menstruation, how it's going to help in menstruation, one can have a pinch of methi, fenugreek powder. In anything they are cooking, just sprinkle a pinch of methi, fenugreek, that will be helpful. Just the way we add some black pepper or rock salt, just a small amount of methi, or in the same manner some amount of haldi, turmeric, that will be beneficial.
Does the quantity, in terms of the Ayurvedic benefit?
In cooking, when you are using it, a small amount of particular spice according to the recipe will be beneficial, and more than how much you eat at a time, it's how many days you eat on a regular basis that matters a lot. So it's like, I mean, for some people who are not used to spices, and once they get to know about the benefits of spices, it doesn't mean how much you eat. You just have to indulge yourself in the use of spices. So then you will get the benefit after a few weeks, after a few months, so that becomes beneficial.
It's more the exposure that
Spices must be eaten like food, not like half
like
teaspoon, 1
Yeah,
teaspoon
so
medicine.
if
Not
you
like
have
a
one,
no dose response.
if you have 1 teaspoon of this methi powder one day and expect all the results, it's not going to happen. It has to be gradual, consistently used. And then
So we'll put it by the dal and the potluck. And if you've never tried this bitter fenugreek, because it's roasted, so it's kind of cooked. So dry roasted it on a skillet and just ground it up.
Okay, one more
Smell
thing.
it and put it on the dal.
At this point, I'm going to add the saffron strands to this.
Saffron and ghee and onion. When onions are cooked in ghee, they also become very bush, very much fertility promoting. Yeah, this is yum. Ajwain.
Is that, would that be appropriate or that?
Yes, that's another thing which is specifically good for cramping and overall regulating menstruation. If you don't use the pressure cooker, it takes what, 50 minutes for the dal?
It will take more time. With urad dal, it will probably take 20 to 25 minutes.
Just ensure if you don't have a pressure cooker, soak it in hot water and soak it for as long as you can or overnight, and start it out with pretty hot water. So then that would break it down well, and then you can cook it in a little time. In South India, when we ferment the urad dal, the fermentation goes completely against the principles of what we are trying to do. So fermented batter is not the recommended, only keep it for occasional eating. But when we are doing it for fertility promotion and for building muscles, and then preferably just simple batter and make a quick dosa, that is better, or a dal, that would be better. And we make non-fermented vada, that also works out.
Is fermentation in general not a good thing? Because they have fermented other, like soy and tofu and...
No, fermented is not recommended for health. You want to speak anything on it?
Because the process that it goes through, that becomes a little difficult for our process of digestion. So eating fermented becomes failure. So that's why we don't recommend it.
And all three doshas have potential of aggravating. So fermented foods are kept at a minimum in means only if person is attached to it. minimal but not on a regular basis at all.
So like tempeh is fermented soy, right?
Yes,
so
and that would be a
avoided.
no-no.
Okay.
And it would aggravate pitta tremendously.
So we can either wait for the steam to dissipate or we can run it into cold water, which Mohsen will do. And then we'll do the next step on that.
The methi, is it good for this season only? I mean, we talked about the fertility. Apart from that, for this season only, or is it okay to use throughout the year?
The thing is, all the spices have some different qualities. Most of the spices are good for increasing the digestive capacity and promote the metabolism. So that way, use of the spices in moderation is beneficial. But that too, when you understand very specific things, like, so that's why methi is not recommended in Sharad Rutu, which is like, usually the heat increases and methi fenugreek has a capacity to increase some heat in the body. So that's why we don't widely recommend it in Sharad Rutu. But for certain people who are fairly healthy, don't have any particular problem, some amount of it can be okay. But now it's the winter season. It is the time they can have methi, or rather that will be more beneficial if they have.
And methi will make the internal atmosphere of the gastrointestinal tract very good. Parasites, etc. It will, prevent parasites, and it will prevent unnecessary accumulation of watery and waste products in the body. So we are eating well right now, and this tends to, its heat will actually augment our Agni. And anyway, something so bitter, we won't eat in cupfuls. It will be very tiny amounts. So,
Going back to your question on the use of spices, the quantity in the recipe, you cannot overdo a spice just because it has a lot of beneficial things, like turmeric or methi, for example. They are bitter in taste. You add too much, you won't be able to eat the food anyway.
we have seen on Food Network people cooking like Indian food, and then Sanjay and I go like, when they take like a whole tablespoon of turmeric and put it in, then we know they have not learned from any teacher. It's like, one little pot of dal, and then they'll be talking about the, scientific benefits of turmeric. It has no meaning, because turmeric will make it very, very, distasteful, because it is again a bitter. So, as Maheshji said, micro amounts taken over long term, and so that the body has chance to naturally assimilate it with day-to-day food is a better way, and body sees it as healthy food and loves it. Good. Kya karna hai? Okay, so we like to, you have a question?
Yeah, I heard that black pepper causes infertility. Is it true?
Very pungent things not cause or will retard infertility.
The thing is, black pepper has heating quality, that is for sure. If someone indulges into black pepper every day in large quantity, then it will have so many problems, not just related to fertility, it will cause so many other symptoms also. But in general, use of black pepper in regular diet, it's always beneficial. So it doesn't have any bad effects on fertility.
In fact, it really improves the pranavaha srota. So it actually has a benefit. The thing that disturbs, at least for us Indian people, is that red chili and the green chilies we are using. They are more disturbing.
Right.
Black pepper, it improves the lung function and the prana carrying function to the entire body. So it's actually, of course it makes sense, it's hot, so we won't use it so much in Sharad Ritu. It's turned out beautiful.
So, this is how it will come out. We'll see.
You've seen the dry urad, right? So,
top of it goes the onion and saffron.
when you are feeling shaky and nervous, eat your urad dal. This urad dal is called as the meat of the poor man. Because not everybody can afford, goat meat and chicken and all of that in India. So we say eat urad dal because it has that much strength. So if we are vegetarian and we are looking to like pump our muscles, we want to make sure we have urad dal inside us, mash.
And then you can always decorate it with.
So beautiful.
There you go.
I'll just look like I made it.